Good evening. The news. Staff at Air Seychelles are tonight waiting to hear the airline's fate following a cabinet ministers meeting today. SBC News understands the virtual discussion was also expected to agree payoffs for 11 pilots facing redundancy. Sources say flight crew are being asked both in the international jet fleet and on domestic services. The government has stated there's no additional public funding to pump into the loss-making national carrier. It's already allocated 133 million rupees in this year's budget, with 104 million earmarked for salaries. The Ministry of Health has recorded 4 more deaths related to COVID-19 since the last update last Thursday. This brings the number of deaths with COVID-19 related illness to 50 since the outbreak. There are actually 1,407 active cases of COVID-19 in the country. The Ministry of Education says it now has a working strategy to respond to COVID cases in schools and to help the Ministry of Health with contact tracing, this through its command center at the ministry's headquarters, operational since April. The ministry says it is its goal to open all schools to their full capacity, but they need the support of parents and students. Whilst the ministry reviews its screening protocols by enhancing physical observation, parents are urged to do the same before sending their child to school. Otherwise, a child with COVID-19 symptoms at schools might result in the closing of a class or school. Students are advised to stay at home when they are off school or in quarantine and to continue to practice safety measures such as wearing masks. The Director of Health and Safety and the head of Education COVID Command Center explained the procedure the center has put in place when a COVID case is detected.
Teachers are asked to fill up our forms that we have for contact tracing, which we need all the extra details of parents' names, NIN, and contact numbers. And once they forward this to us, we can help with disseminating this information to the Ministry of Health for them to do the contact tracing further. And with this, we can make the decisions also for number of days of quarantine and for follow-up of the case. And of course, for parents to receive an exit certificate afterwards.
The Retailers Association says the press release yesterday from the Ministry of Finance is damaging to reputation of the association. In the press communique, the Ministry of Finance condemned the actions of certain shopkeepers who were not respecting the recommended retail prices set by STC on the 14 basic commodities imported by the company. The chairman of the Retailers Association, Kanusami Naidu, says there was no need for such press release because the problem was already resolved.
I am disappointed at the press release which the Ministry of Finance announced on national television and the Nation newspaper. Actually, those problems had already been solved on Saturday itself, and the authorities were informed about that. The main incident was some shop which removed the price on flour, white flour, from $9.95 and printed 12 rupees on it. Another was on sugar, which was $14.65 to $14.75. So these issues had already been solved. But for the Ministry of Finance to come up with a press release, it is damaging to retailers.
On his part, the CEO of the Fair Trading Commission, Francis Lebon, has issued a statement saying that in an open and free market economy, recommended retail price, RRP, is a price recommended by a supplier. It is a non-binding suggestion. Businesses can set their own prices. He says that Section 17(1) of the Fair Trading Competition Act states that a term or condition of an agreement for the sale of any goods by a supplier to a dealer is void to the extent that it purports to establish or provide for the establishment of minimum prices to be charged on the resale of those goods. Mr. Lebon says, however, it is also important that prices markups on products are not excessive Wholesalers and retailers are being advised to act consciously and not to profit on consumers, especially in this difficult economic time. As of January next year, the total amount of yellowfin tuna fished in the Indian Ocean will have to be lower than this year following a new resolution adopted by the countries of the Indian Ocean Tuna Commission, IOTC. The IOTC meeting was held last week and had to decide on 7 resolutions proposed by various countries. The Principal Secretary for Fisheries, Roy Claris, says that he is satisfied with the outcome of the meeting in terms of the new limit set for yellowfin tuna, as it will help to rebuild the stock of yellowfin tuna in the Indian Ocean.
There were 7 proposals tabled, out of which 3 were adopted. And the main one adopted was the resolution on rebuilding the yellowfin tuna stock, which the majority of the countries agreed to that resolution and managed to set a limit below the level that was recommended by the scientific committee. So basically, the scientific committee recommended that the amount of tuna to be fished should be not more than 403,000 tons, and the Commission managed to set a limit of 400,512,000 tons. Apart from that, there were, on that particular resolution, however, there were 5 countries that objected to the same.
62-year-old Harry Dingwall is the top blood donor amongst the volunteers of the Red Cross Society of Seychelles. Mr. Dingwall became a Red Cross volunteer in 1990 and has since donated blood on a regular basis, about 114 times during the past 31 years. He is amongst 4 male volunteers who were rewarded this morning for donating blood regularly. This is every 3 months on average, or whenever they are called. The ceremony at the Red Cross Society's headquarters at Providence was marking the World Blood Donor Day today under the theme "Give Blood and Keep the World Beating." The Red Cross Society of Seychelles has expressed its gratitude to all blood donors in Seychelles for the valuable gift that they freely give to save lives.
The Red Cross Society of Seychelles calls on the youth to consider donating blood regularly as a personal commitment to the community and to the country. Giving blood and saving lives is a self-rewarding gesture. When you give blood, you offer to someone the possibility and hope to continue on the journey of life. When doing so, you bring a smile on the faces of the recipients, their families, and friends. Giving blood is a heroic act, and blood donors contribute greatly to the blood bank. We are all potential clients of the blood bank. Your contribution is valuable, and your dividend is assured. So give blood and keep the world beating. Happy Blood Donor Day.
We've come to the end of this news summary. Thank you for watching. Good evening.